Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. So in this video we are going to discuss about a problem when you are creating the Kubernetes cluster. So the Kubernetes cluster requires the 2 core 2 GB machine. Okay, let me just quickly show that. So if I Kubernetes hardware requirement, if I quickly go through this, so you will see that the master node within the Kubernetes cluster setup requires 2 GB memory minimum and at least 1.5 core CPU. Okay. Similarly, worker node has lesser memory requirements. So this makes it necessary that you need to provision a machine which is actually bigger than 1 core 1 GB, which is the free. You can get it this kind of virtual machine free under the AWS free tier. So if I show you the AWS free tier, it has a limitation where you can get T2 micro or T3 micro for free. But then those instance types again does not fulfill the requirement for creating the Kubernetes cluster VMs. So this might cost you additional. So if you want to provision a machine that is t2.small is the minimum instance type which will support your requirements. Okay, if you even try to get it working on the worker machines, then the performance will be very degraded even from the practice point of view. And if you try to install it on the master, it will eventually fail because that is the minimum requirement. So Kubernetes performs some pre-checks during which the if the 2 GB memory and 1.5 CPU core requirement is not fulfilled, then the pre-checks will fail. And when you initialize the Kubernetes cluster on the master node, it won't proceed ahead with the installation because the prerequisites are failing. So one of the workaround, if you don't want to put in the extra like works in purchasing or running this AWS EC2 instances, even though I would suggest because basically you pay for the time that you run. Okay, so AWS charges you on per hour basis. So even if you prefer to run their instances, that shouldn't cost you much. But then if you are totally reluctant because you are practicing, you might be practicing right now and you want just the disposable VMs on which you can easily practice without worrying about the cost or anything like that. In that case, there is an alternative where you can use the Vagrant. Now, I will be using the Vagrant along with the hypervisor of VirtualBox, which is provided by Oracle for free. You can download them and create your virtual machine. Now, VirtualBox itself act like a hypervisor. It's a layer which basically acts helps you to get the VM over your Windows machine without actually affecting the Windows machine itself. So you can use the VirtualBox to create the VM. But the process of the VirtualBox is more GUI based, so it's comparatively slow. Now, Vagrant is a command line tool developed by the HashiCorp, which actually automates the process of the virtual machine creation. And with a simple Vagrant up command, you can get a virtual machine up and running. Then you can use any SSH client to connect to that machine. So we are going to cover that. And we are also going to use a GitLab. So the software which we require for getting this virtual machine set up is we can go ahead and use Vagrant. So there is a Vagrant by HashiCorp. You can use that. Then now Vagrant uh, automates the virtual machine creation process. But if you want to create the actual virtual machine, the hypervisor you will have to use I would suggest you to use the VirtualBox. Just search for VirtualBox, and it will provide you the Oracle VM VirtualBox. Now, Vagrant does support the VMware as well. So if you want to use that, you can use it. But VirtualBox is recognized by default. That's why we are going ahead with the VirtualBox. And lastly, the third software that we are going to use is Git Bash. So just download the Git SCM Windows, okay, and it's going to download additionally, along with the Git, it will download Git Bash, which is used to run the Git commands on the Windows, because Windows does not comes with a native command line tool. Now, obviously, it has the CMD, but the commands, all the commands are not supported on it. Then there is PowerShell. If you have knowledge about the PowerShell, then you can use it. Otherwise, I would stick to the Git Bash. Now, all of the three software, these are pretty much straightforward. Just click on the download. It will download, you can select your operating system type, mostly 64-bit you would be having. So it downloads the MSI file. Just run it and click next to install it. There is not much to the installation. You should be easily able to install it. Similarly, you can go ahead and install the VirtualBox. Now, after you install it, it might require a restart. So go ahead and restart it. You will have to restart once to get this setup up and running. Now, some of you might face issue when you after the installation, when you run the command line, that we are going to discuss shortly. And lastly, once you have installed the VirtualBox and Vagrant, both are exe and MSI file, just click next, 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 and that's it. Similarly, there is Git. Download the Git for your Windows machine. Okay, and just click next, next, next. So up till now, once you install all three of them and restart your VM, you are good to go ahead and uh, get the get ahead with the virtual machine creation part. Now, once you have installed it, okay, I have already done, so I'm not going to cover that part of the installation. I'm not going to show how to install a exe file. That should be pretty much self-explanatory. Next, we are going to see how we can start with the virtual machine creation. Just search for the Git Bash, and it will provide. Just search for Git. It should provide you a Git Bash. Just click on Git Bash, and this black window basically is the Git Bash. So right now, if you see, this is the Git Bash. If I show you, I'm currently inside my C users Ankit. So what I can do is I can create a directory. Let's say we are creating, the objective of creating this virtual machine is to get the Kubernetes cluster up and running on a virtual machine and practice the Kubernetes on it. Okay, so what you can do is you can create a KTS folder. Okay, and now this KTS folder, think of it this like a place where all the virtual machines will be residing. So I can go inside this KTS folder. Now you can create a folder, anything that you like. Just understand that this is the place where the virtual machines will be there. Now, within the Kubernetes, we plan to use one master machine. So I will create one master folder. And similarly, we plan to use the one worker machine and another worker machine. So two worker machine and one master machine. So I will create this folder. If you want to look at the folder structure, just look at the folder structure: one master machine, two worker machines. Okay, now let me clear this. The best thing about this Git Bash is that it supports all the Linux command. So if you are already working in Linux, then you must be quite familiar with it. So most of the commands will be supported. That will help you to easily work on the Windows machines. Now, once you have done this, go to your master machine, go to your master folder. Okay. If you want to look at the directory structure that I have created, this is my directory structure. Okay. Now, once you have done it, once you have created this directory structure, now the part where the Vagrant comes in. If you have already installed the Vagrant, now you can, if I show you, currently this folder is completely empty. There is nothing inside this folder. So what I can do is I can run the Vagrant init command. Now, once I run the vagrant init command, it's going to initialize the vagrant, and vagrant initialization actually creates a vagrant file. So if I run the vagrant init command, it's going to create a vagrant file here. Okay. All right. So if you see now, it has created a vagrant file. Okay. Now, what is this vagrant file? If I show you, see, the vagrant file is the holds all the configuration about the machine, right? Now you cannot change the name of this file. The file name, the way it has been written with V capital, it should exactly be like this, because vagrant expects this file. Now all the configuration regarding the virtual machine goes inside this vagrant file. So when you run the vagrant up command, it will expect that you have a vagrant file in your working directory, and it's going to refer that vagrant file which holds all the configuration, and basis of the configuration that you have passed inside this vagrant file, it's going to create your virtual machine. So it becomes necessary that we provide the relevant information inside the vagrant file in order to be able to create the virtual machine for the running the Kubernetes cluster. So what we can do now is, let's clear this. Okay, we have the vagrant file, so we are going to edit this. Now I'm using the Vim editor for editing this vagrant file. You can use any file editor of your choice. So now I'm inside the vagrant file. Now what we can do is, we are going to configure few of the things. The very first thing that we are going to configure is, we are going to create a VM of, we are going to run the CentOS 7.5. So basically what happens is that when you create, when you run the vagrant actually connects to vagrant cloud. So if I show you vagrant cloud, this is the vagrant cloud. Okay, it already has the vagrant boxes into it. You can just search for the different types of operating system, right? So you can install Precise 64, Laravel, Ubuntu, CentOS 7. Okay, any of these you can run. Bento 1 to 1604. So usually it follows this way, that it starts with the username followed by the operating system or the software that they have provided. Okay, so you will get all the relevant details here, when this was last updated and things like this. Okay, now what you can do is that we are going to install the CentOS 7.5. So we are just scroll down and come to this part. You see config vm.box. So just scroll down and come to this part and replace this base with the bento slash CentOS hyphen 7.5. Okay, now this is again the CentOS 7.5 provided by the user bento. Okay, so we are going to use this image for creating our Kubernetes cluster. Okay, and mostly you can use it for any of the uh, uh, like the thing that you want to perform on the virtual machine, whether it's a configuration management, Terraform, anything that you are preferring to do, you can do it. You can also create the Kubernetes cluster using the CentOS 7.5. Now, what happens here is that when you run the vagrant up command, it basically you have provided that the machine that you want to create. So the vagrant is going to check on your local machine if you have that image. If you don't have it, then it's going to automatically download from the virtual vagrant cloud onto your machine. Now you don't have to do anything. You just have to provide the machine name. Rest of the things are automatically taken care by the vagrant for you. So don't worry about downloading any image or anything. Vagrant automatically takes care for you. Okay, it's all automated. So now just scroll down and you will see that vagrant allows you to put a private IP address to your virtual machine. Okay, so if you look here, it basically says that you can configure a IP for your virtual machine. So what we are going to do next is, we are going to remove this hash. Hash is like a comment. Okay, so I'm going to remove this hash. So this is the IP which is going to be assigned. So I can change this IP just for the demonstration purpose. I'm going to change it to 192.168.33.1. Okay. So this is the IP which will be assigned to my virtual machine. And then I can scroll down. Finally, this is the last part which I have to edit. If you see this config vm.provider, just uncomment this line. So remove the hash in front of it. Secondly, just scroll down and uncomment this vv.memory. Now here you can provide the memory, how much memory your virtual machine will be having. Depending upon your host memory, you can easily give the memory to your virtual machine. So I'm having like 16 GB server. So I'm willing to provide somewhere around 4 GB memory to my master machine. You can provide 2 GB if that is sufficient, and I'm going to provide like 2 GB each uh, to the worker machines. Okay, this way I'm going to provide 8 GB, but since I'm having 16 GB virtual machine, so I'm having 16 GB of memory in my laptop. So still I would be left with 8 GB memory for my host machine, which is more than sufficient, and my system will not going to slow up. If you are not having enough memory in your laptop, let's say it's 4 GB, prefer to use 2 GB for master and one or less than 1 GB, somewhat around 800 MB memory for your worker machines. But if you have memory, go ahead and allocate as you find it more suitable. Okay, so I'm just going to increase this. I'm going to roughly put it like 4096 amount of memory, and then I'm going to say vb dot cpus. Okay, so you can also allocate the cpus to your virtual machine. Okay, then vagrant is going to make sure that that much amount of cpu is being allocated to the virtual machine. So I have 8 cores, so I'm just going to allocate 2 cores to my virtual machine. Okay, and finally I'm going to remove this hash in front of the end. This ends the configuration. All right, so that is all that you have to edit inside the Vagrant file. Now you can go ahead and save this Vagrant file. So just go ahead and save this Vagrant file. Okay. Now, once you have created the Vagrant and edited this Vagrant file with all the relevant information, now you don't need to do anything else. Just run the Vagrant up command. Now, once you run the Vagrant up command, it's going to actually look for this Vagrant file and it's going to read the configuration. After reading the configuration, it will get that you want to run CentOS 7.5, so it's going to download the image. Now, if the image, in my case, the image is already there on the machine, so it's not going to download that image again. It's going to use the image which is already there on my machine. Okay. For the first time, if you don't have the image, it will download it. Next time, it will use from your machine. So during the first time run, you might find that it's taking more time depending upon your internet connection. It's going to download. If the image size is big, you can consider it to be a couple of minutes before the download completes and it starts creating the virtual machine. So go ahead and run the vagrant up command. Now, once you run the vagrant up, it will read the image, create the virtual machine, assign the IP, assign the memory and CPUs to your virtual machine. And then once the virtual machine is created, you can go ahead and use it. So the Vagrant is running now, and it has detected that I'm running the VirtualBox, and it is now checking for the image. Since the image is already there, so it's basically verifying that the image is valid, and it's just checking that image. Now, on the from that image, it will start creating the virtual machine on my laptop itself. Okay, so the virtual machine creation is in progress. Now it has created the NAT networking, which will allow you to connect to the virtual machine. And then it has, this is the name of my virtual machine. So if you go inside if you open the virtual box, you will see the virtual machines over there. You can identify your master machine on which you are working on the basis of this VM name. Next, it has configured the adapter with NAT and host only. It uses the port forwarding. So basically, port forwarding allows it to connect to the port number 22. So if you have to connect to a virtual machine, you are going to connect to 2222 on your host machine, which is actually going to be forwarded to the 22 inside the virtual machine, which is running on your laptop, right? So it's going to still connect on the SSH to port 22, but for the SSH client like PuTTY, you are going to pass port number 2222. Also, it uses the loopback address for all the virtual machine. The while creating, it will show you 127.0.0.1 and followed by the port number, but the port number will differ. This is how it actually allows you to connect to the multiple virtual machine, basically on the basis of the port number difference uh, uh, that it creates for other virtual machine. I will be showing you that shortly. Now it automatically creates a vagrant user, and it's going to provide a private key, and this private key basically resides inside the hidden folder on your inside your folder, and you can use that to connect to your virtual machine. All right, it has updated the key, and then it's performing the checks. The virtual machine has been created. Now sometimes it might fail due to some internal reasons, so don't worry about that. Just run the vagrant destroy command. It will delete the virtual machine which it has created, and run the vagrant up again. It will recreate it. Usually recreating the machine usually solves the issue. Now some of you might get an issue where it will complain about the virtualization disabled. So if the virtualization is disabled, this is an issue with your laptop provider. They have basically disabled the virtualization. So Vagrant and basically the virtual box, which creates the virtual machine, is a virtualization technology. And if the virtualization itself has been disabled, then you cannot use it because it requires virtualization and it has been disabled in your machine. Usually there is an error related to the headless. If you are getting something like that, just go ahead and Google it, and most of the time you will find the solution. And if that is the issue, then you will have to reboot your laptop and go into your BIOS. There is a configuration where you can enable the virtualization. Just look for your laptop provider. Usually different providers have different configurations, so the name basically differs, but everything is inside the BIOS. So go ahead and enable it. Once you enable the virtualization, then you should be able to use it. Mostly all the laptop provider have the virtualization, so don't worry about that. Now once the virtual machine has been created, how to connect to this virtual machine? So make sure that you are inside that folder where the virtual machine has been created. So I just created it here, that's why I'm inside that, already inside that folder. So if I have to connect to my master, then I'm going to say vagrant ssh, and it's going to connect to my vagrant master. So just run the vagrant ssh. It's going to directly ssh using the public and the private key pair. All right, so I'm inside my virtual machine. Now, if I do sudo, a vagrant user is a admin user, so you can directly use the sudo, and it will connect you to the root user without password. Okay. Now you can run if config command. So if config is going to show you the IP address. If you remember, we provided this IP address inside our vagrant file, that is 192.168.33.11. So this is running. Now, if I show you how much memory is there, so I can run the free -m command. So there is 3790. So approximately 4 GB memory has been allocated to my virtual machine. If I show you how much CPU is there, so I can say CPU info, and you will see that it has allocated 2 processor. You see 0 processor and 1. So basically 2 cores has been assigned to my from the CPU perspective. So I see that mostly all the configuration which I have provided is there, and all the virtual machine has been created according to my requirement. Now this is the master, right? Kubernetes master. Now let's say I will be using it for the Kubernetes master. Now what I want is, I want another virtual machine, right? So what I can do is, I can right click and say open one more terminal for git bash. Now I can go in again inside the, if I see where I am right now, I'm inside the slash. Now I will have to actually check the location where this machine was created. So I will come out of it. You can press exit to come out of it. Just copy the location C, users Ankit Kedas. This is the location where I have created. So I can do /c/users/ Ankit Kedas. Okay, this time I will go inside the worker one. Okay. Now, uh, let's come out one directory. So what I am going to do this time is I will go back to my master and I will say vagrant SSH to go inside the virtual machine. Now, next time I need to create a virtual machine, I'm not going to do all the Vagrant file editing again, right? So what I can do is I can actually copy the Vagrant file of the master inside my worker machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy from my master, that is the Vagrant file from my master folder into my worker one folder. So I'm going to copy it inside the worker one. Okay. Now, once you have copied it, go inside the worker one. And now there is only a single change that you need to make ideally, but I'm going to make two changes. Just I'm going to reduce the memory and also make sure that you change the IP, because two virtual machines cannot have the same IP. So what I need to do is I just need to change the IP address. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the last octet and I'm going to increment it by 1. So I can say 12. So they will have different IPs. Now here I would like to reduce the memory. So I'm going to say 2048 because it's a worker machine. So I don't want to provide too much memory in that case. Okay, so all right. So that's the only change. Every time you have to now create a virtual machine, you are not going to start from Vagrant init, rather just copy the Vagrant file and run the Vagrant up command, adjust your memory, CPU and IP according to your requirements. And that's it. It will create the virtual machine again. So you can run Vagrant up command and it's going to create the another virtual machine just like that. So it becomes really easy with the Vagrant to create the virtual machine on demand. And since you are doing everything on your machine, you don't have to pay anything extra to Amazon or any other cloud provider. Now, the virtual, is there any difference between the virtual machine that you are using on your laptop and that of a AWS cloud? No, there is no difference like that. Here you are using your own hardware, and in the cloud you are basically using the hardware which has been provided by the Amazon. So ideally there is not much difference. If you are looking if you are still learning, you can go ahead, and the main focus here is not on the cloud, rather on learning the Kubernetes or some configuration management tool or those kind of thing. If you are not focused right now on the cloud, go ahead and create your virtual machine. That is much more economical way of practicing without actually paying anything extra for your practice session. Okay. All right. So if you see this, it has actually created the virtual machine. And this time, if you look, it is not running on 2222, rather it's running on 2200. So this is the port number. This is how it differentiates between the virtual machines which it is running. Okay. Also, the name of the virtual machine will be different. And let this virtual machine come up. Then I will show you uh, by getting inside it. We are going to verify the configuration. And similarly, you can go ahead and create the virtual machine for your worker too as well. So at a given point in time, if all the three virtual machines are running, for me, it will be using 8 GB and 6 core processor, which leaves with Windows with 2 core, which is more than sufficient to run it. And after my work, I'm going to stop it. Then the resources which I have allocated through Vagrant will be released, and no more the resources will be utilized. So it's very easy, and I can once I have done it, I can destroy it as well. I will show you that as well. All right, so the virtual machine has been created now. I can simply run Vagrant SSH, and that's it. It will take me inside the virtual machine. All right, so I have run the Vagrant SSH now. And you will see that I'm inside the virtual machine now. So I can take sudo, okay, and become the root user. Now, if I run ifconfig command, so you will see it says IP address is 192.168.33.12. And if I check for the memory, it shows me that the memory is 2 GB, which is again more than what we have actually provided. Now, similarly, if I wanted to create one more VM, I already have the two VMs running. Similarly, I can copy the Vagrant file and change the IP and run the Vagrant up. So what I can do is, let me do that as well quickly, and then we will be basically ready. So I can say cd slash c slash users slash Ankit and KTS, and this time I'm going to copy from the worker one the vagrant file into the worker two. Okay, and once I have copied, I will go inside the worker two now, and I'm going to edit the vagrant file. And now once I have edited the vagrant file, I will scroll down and just change the IP. This time I don't need to change any memory or CPU because it's already in line with the worker one. I have copied this from the worker one. So I'm going to save it, and that's it. My work is done. I will run the vagrant up command, and that's it. It will create the virtual machine again. So using the vagrant, it becomes very easy. As many machine, depending upon your hardware availability that you are having, you can go ahead and provision your virtual machines and practice at your own will without worrying about anything about any charges or anything. Remember that during this time, obviously the workload on your laptop is would be little higher because you are running more number of machines. So I would still suggest that if you are still in the learning phase, this is the best way to go ahead and make it work. Just in case if you get struck with some errors, which is likely to come if you do not use your laptop much for the technical work. In that case, just go ahead, whatever error you are getting over the Vagrant has a very large community. Mostly you should be able to resolve maximum errors just by doing some Google around it. Mostly you will get the solutions for it. If you are still facing some issues in this, go ahead and update in the comment. I will try to get back to you with the solution. So you can comment it the on the video itself. All right, so this virtual machine is getting created. Now next question comes that all right, so this these virtual machines are ready now. What if I just want to stop this virtual machine now? Okay, so there are two things. One is like if you want to stop the virtual machine, and then the second thing is like if you want to delete the virtual machine. Okay, that is your work is over and you want to delete it. So considering the let's consider the first case where we want to stop the virtual machine. So if I want to stop the virtual machine, then I'm going to run the vagrant halt command. Okay, I will be showing you that. Okay, and once you run the vagrant halt, it will stop your virtual machine. Okay, and if you run vagrant destroy, it's going to destroy your virtual machine. That is going to remove the virtual machine. Okay, and all the resources. Now my virtual machine is ready, so I can do vagrant ssh, and once I do vagrant ssh, I will be inside the virtual machine. Now once I'm inside the virtual machine, you can check the IP and the relevant resources. Now we are basically ready at this point. If we want to install the Kubernetes, we can do it, but I'm not going to do it right now because this machine this video was more about how to get the virtual machine for running the Kubernetes cluster. Now, if you see 192.168.33.13, okay, if I run free -m, it says 2 GB. And if I do cat slash CPU proc CPU info, okay, and then you will see I have two cores. All right, so if you go here, you will see I have three virtual machines running now. Now suppose I do not want the virtual machines, so I can exit out of him. Okay, now suppose I want to stop this worker too, so I can simply run vagrant halt. Okay, vagrant halt is going to stop this virtual machine. Okay, and suppose this is my worker one. If I don't want this virtual machine at all, I can simply run vagrant destroy. Now vagrant destroy is like a much more powerful command because it's going to remove the virtual machine. Now when I say remove the virtual machine, if you have created any file or put any code, or if you have done any changes, all those changes will be lost. Now obviously you can recreate by running the vagrant up command again. It's going to recreate, but the older work will be removed. While if you look at the vagrant halt, it has actually gracefully shut down the virtual machine. So whatever work you have done, that will be still be saved on the virtual machine, and next time when you actually power it on, you will get the same work again. Okay, so that is the major difference between the vagrant halt and vagrant destroy. So these are the major commands which you need to know. Okay, and again, once you have halted the machine, if you want to bring it up again, just run the vagrant up command again. It's same. Okay, it vagrant will detect that you have already created, so it will just power on the virtual machine. Again, I will run the vagrant halt here as well, so it will stop the virtual machine. And this is how you can get the virtual machines for practicing and on your local machine. That's like an alternative to Kubernetes or some cloud provider. If you want, you can use this as well. It will help you run. And remember, Kubernetes is cloud native, so it does not really make any changes to the Kubernetes, whether it's running on cloud or whether it's running on your own VM. All right, so guys, that's for it. If you are still facing some issue during after this video, and you get some error or something during the VM creation, please comment on the video itself. I will revert you back there itself. All right, thank you everyone, and please subscribe to our channel. Stopping the recording now. See you all in next video.